It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you look on that gigantic, sharp, interactive board, you're going to see in red letters, Konica bails out of FORZA. We all saw the press release last night. I'm not reading this press release because I could care less. We all knew this was going to happen, right? Well, at least I did. I've been warning you all about this for like 4 years. I don't even care who they dump this thing off to. It's irrelevant. As far as I'm concerned, FORZA's dead in our industry, and I'm hoping that all the actors in our industry finally put this damn thing to bed. But there is a lesson here, ladies and gentlemen. When this came out, I went ahead and shared it, and I said this above the share. Well, so much for the FORZA fantasy. As I've been warning dealers to stop buying into these ERP wannabes, the disaster of FORZA is a great lesson. Think about all the nonsensical press releases regarding FORZA. Think about all these nonsensical press releases involving FORZA and other crap you hear about. That's all unsubstantiated. As I keep telling you all, those people that continuously put out press releases are distracting you from the fact that their last press release released nothing. Think about it. We have some great distractors in our industry. Our industry should be more concerned about the distractors than they are of the critics. Because the critics, even though our industry really doesn't have any, holy smokes, I wish I had some peer critics, but there's too many people afraid. There's too many people afraid to stand up and say enough is enough. Ask the questions. What in the hell are you talking about? Prove it with math. There's too few of us. And quite honestly, our industry's media analysts are never going to do it. And we all know the reasons why. But back in February of 2020, I wrote an article. I was talking about this ERP fantasy nonsense. I was talking about the fact there's no bolt-on fantasy ERP. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to share some thoughts because I think there is a lesson here today for our industry to learn, a broader lesson. And it's not just about the failed FORZA platform. It's about how our industry is so obsessed with avoiding conflict. So the first thing I got to do is I got to go ahead and give an award out. Program dealers wish they never engaged in. I had my awards roast yesterday, and I just figured, what the hell, who cares about FORZA? So I didn't include them. I should have included them. Because here's what I'm spelling, ladies and gentlemen. I got to turn on my pen first. Floundering / failing organization received 0 accountability. That's a fact. That's what happens in our industry. We'd rather try to boycott the critics. We'd rather try to make the critics out to be the bad people. Call up the critic sponsors and complain. But don't hold us accountable. Oh my gosh. Let us continue in our fantasies. Ladies and gentlemen, holy crap. This should be the motto. Floundering and failing organizations receive 0 accountability. And when you're sitting in an audience and you're listening to folks on stage, make sure you kind of hold them accountable a little bit, right? If they're telling you about a new deliverable, show me the math. Show me the success. I think about the day that Konica Minolta bought FORZA. Think about this. What was our industry concerned about? The BTA and the legal team at the BTA, what were they concerned about? Convincing dealers that an OEM that was going to sell you an ERP system would keep your data safe. Quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say something right now, probably going to make a lot of people mad, but I really don't care because I think it's something that we should be saying. Back when Konica Minolta bought FORZA, I think it would have made a whole lot more sense for the legal team to be analyzing the validity of FORZA and trying to really understand why it failed financially before Konica got it. To understand what are the real problems with it. The BTA, you have a great responsibility to your members, and your members need you to do due diligence. You can't just do it part way, or don't do it at all. But you can't go out there and start recommending things, start getting dealers excited about things, if you're not going to do any kind of due diligence of whether these things are viable to the marketplace, or whether the companies themselves can maintain as a going concern. And I think the BTA should really take that to heart as it navigates through the future, because there's a lot of opportunities that will be presented to the dealers. And quite honestly, I believe we need more critics. We don't need more people slapping each other on the back, appeasing everybody, and afraid to have any conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look on the gigantic, sharp, interactive board, you'll see a chain, and the chain is broken in the middle. Above it, it says, fear of conflicts breaks the chain, pulling you towards relevance. The fear of conflict breaks the chain, pulling you towards relevance. It weakens. It weakens the journey. Folks, we all start out with a dream. That's fantastic. That's entrepreneurism. We get a plan, and then we attempt. We attempt. Those are the links in the chain. We got the dream. We put a plan together. We attempt to accomplish this dream. And then we find out, holy shit, what we planned isn't really accurate. What we're attempting is not really working. And this is a critical link. We have a choice. We can modify, or we can be stubborn. And we can sit in stubbornness. Let's keep going. Maybe our lenders will give us more welfare and we can just keep on doing what we're doing even though nothing's really changing. Or we modify. But modifying is not for the weak and timid. Modifying is going to cause conflict. Modifying could mean you have to replace leadership. Sometimes the leadership might even be the head leader has to go. There has to be a decision made. Because if you remain in stubbornness, guess what? That fear of conflict, that fear of change causes the chain to break. But boy, if you do and you welcome conflict, you get through that link. You accept reality. You realign to those realities. And you continue in a modification mode. All those that talk about being change experts, the hell with that. You have to be able to modify along the way, and that avoids change altogether. You modify along the way. You avoid stubbornness. And you're willing to accept conflict. Because without conflict, there will be no relevance. Without conflict, you will remain in status quo. I want to share some thoughts. Sign the leader is delusional or hiding the facts. Because there's issues in our industry, ladies and gentlemen. There's big issues, and the industry's being honest. We're not going to discuss these issues, but I sure as hell will. But I want to share with you some thoughts. Must be liked and cannot deal with critics. That's a number one sign you got a delusional leader or someone that's hiding facts. Zero ability to communicate thought leadership. I think about some of these people that are critical of the critics, but they have zero thoughts of their own. Zero. They can't even articulate how the critic could be wrong. They just can't do it. So what do? Well, they talk about how the critics may be mean. They talk about how the critic is just an evil person. Instead of addressing what those they're trying to defend, if they think, need to hear. They can't do it. They have zero thought leadership. Distract from harsh realities with feel-good content, zero conflict, pictures of past. I call it the puppy dog and roses bullshit no one would object to. It is so easy to sit on the sidelines. It's the easiest thing you could do in our industry, especially if you're an analyst or a consultant. The easiest thing you can do is just sit on the sidelines, collect all the money, and say nothing. What an easy damn job. But I'm hoping the industry's actors will start saying enough is enough. Enough is enough. And stop paying these people to sit on the lines and not actually help you. Ladies and gentlemen, the critics aren't always right. But the critics are supposed to cause thought. The critics should bring you thought leadership. I work pretty damn hard to make sure that I bring you all this thought leadership. You don't have to agree with it. But I guarantee you, you're going to think when the show's over. Issues. Numerous press releases about what's coming, but never describes what happened. Big sign. You're working for a delusional leader or someone that's hiding the facts. Let's throw out some press releases about something we're going to do or something that's coming, but let's not talk about anything that we didn't do or that failed. will deliver gratuitous platitudes hoping to gain more or keep more friends. It's all about making friends. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not about friends. There's nobody in this industry that I don't like. There are some people in this industry that I will never have dinner with, I assure you. There are some people in this industry that I probably won't even have a drink with. But at the end of the day, it's not about friends. I didn't start the end of the day with Ray to make friends. I started the end of the day with Ray to help the industry navigate through its challenging times. If I sat down every single day and figured out, oh man, I can't say that because that person won't be my friend anymore, that would be ridiculous. And I'll never, ever do that. That's what delusional or leaders that are hiding things do. Can't hold themselves or others accountable because of extreme insecurity. These people are so damn insecure. They'll never hold themselves accountable. They'll promote fantasies out there, but they'll never hold themselves accountable. We'll talk about how they have massive financial backing while never mentioning their lender wrote off massive amounts of debt they couldn't pay. Think about it. Where was the talk about what was lost when FORZA went over to Konica Minolta? Where's the other critics around this mega dealer called Visual Edge? This is an important story, ladies and gentlemen. You got leaders out there literally telling people how successful they are because they're backed by rich bankers, and the reality of it is those rich bankers have them on welfare. We don't want to talk about that. That person must be evil or sinful to talk about that. Wouldn't it be nice if the leaders of that organization could actually talk to the employees of that organization and address these realities with them? Ladies and gentlemen, our industry has to stop kicking the can down the road because eventually we all have to realize that can will in fact fall off the cliff. We need to pick up the damn can and deal with it. I want to end with some quotes. It is the duty of every man, as far as his ability extends, to detect and expose delusion and error. Thomas Paine. What a fantastic quote. Transparency increases credibility and accountability. Park Wan-soo. Transparency increases credibility and accountability. Holy smokes, if only we were transparent. Leadership consists of nothing but taking responsibility for everything that goes wrong and giving your subordinates credit for everything that goes well. When is the last time you saw any leader, I'm just going to have to say their name again, Visual Edge, talk about what's gone wrong and took responsibility for that? Instead, what do they talk about? How they have an advantage over other players in the marketplace because they're backed by bankers? Of course, they leave off the part about being on welfare. Most people don't want to acknowledge the uncomfortable truth that distractions is always an unhealthy escape from reality. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some famous people with some famous quotes. I'm not a famous person, but I have my own quote. The dream will be deemed pure bullshit when the dreamer is just distracting from the realities of their nightmare. The dream will be deemed pure bullshit when the dreamer is just distracting from the realities of their nightmare. Think about what's going on with FORZA. Think about the past of FORZA. Think about what you hear in the marketplace. Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that will be invented. Don't get stuck at status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.